never said thank you. And you'll never have to.
All right, the question is Vicks VapoRub for toenail fungus infections.
So welcome back. This is the series we're doing on the lies our parents told us. It's not a knock on our parents. It's not a knock on your parents. We're just looking at some of the historical and generational health tips and skin tips that have been passed down.
And some of them are great, some of them not so great, but this one specifically, does Vicks VapoRub actually cure your toenail fungus infections? Let's find out. Here we go.
Here we go.
First off, shout out to Top Podiatry. Love his videos. He's hilarious. Definitely go check him out. He's actually a podiatrist. So we're pretty sure that we're going to like his content. But I've seen some wacky content. Doesn't matter what your degree is. I've seen some wild stuff out there. We make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. So there's a couple components to this, right? Is there something specific about Vicks? Or is it just the ingredients in here that happen to have antifungal properties?
Or is it just chance? Or maybe it doesn't work at all? We'll take a deep look here. So I guess the first thing here, we have to break down this Vicks VapoRub. This product is great in that it smells great. If you have a cold, it's nice and soothing, helps. I wonder if what's the mechanism there? Does it like irritate your nose enough that it like opens up your airways? But regardless,
outside of our scope.
Exactly. How does it perform on your feet? So we have to actually take a look at the breakdown of what's in Vicks VapoRub altogether, because it's never just, sometimes it's like the whole combination of things, but oftentimes there's a component in either a plant-based product, a plant-based ingredient, in this case, a product that's actually contributing in the major way.
So when we look at this, we kind of break down the ingredients, because in order for this hack to work, right, we have to go back to the mechanism. It has to kill fungus because that's what causes onychomycosis. So it has to have antifungal properties. So when you look at the ingredients, it does actually have some really interesting ingredients. You have eucalyptus oil, you have camphor, you have thymol, you have menthol, and actually, interestingly, there have been some studies on individually these ingredients having antifungal properties.
Right, which I think is the most interesting thing about this. It's not like there's one thing in this product that could be helpful. There are actually multiple things in this product that can be helpful. So which one should we start with?
Well, I think thymol is something that dermatologists do prescribe essentially to treat infections. And so let's just start there. You know, the data limited, but thymol has been shown both anecdotally and in some studies to have antifungal properties.
So when it comes to ingredients like camphor and eucalyptus, these are they're in a lot of products, especially camphor, kind of for an experiential thing. It gives you a little bit of a sensation of tingling, gives you a little bit of warmth, flushing. But in this case, there was a study showing this compared to a lot of other prescription, topical, and plant-based and essential oil-based ingredients that are antifungal. And the bulk of the work between these is actually probably done by the camphor. Like eucalyptus does have some properties, specifically against the trichophyton species, which is the causative fungus for most people with toenail fungus. But the camphor actually seemed to actually have better activity than the eucalyptus.
Right. So camphor and eucalyptus and thymol have antifungal properties that would potentially help, right? So now you have these ingredients that do have antifungal properties. Has Vicks ever been studied as a formula, right? Because is it at the right concentrations? When they work together, do they actually work together? It actually, believe it or not, someone did a study on 18 patients looking at whether or not Vicks VapoRub helps to cure toenail fungus.
In this study, there were 18 patients, and the majority of them either showed partial improvement or complete resolution. Now, there's some pretty big drawbacks in this study. One is fairly small. 18 patients is a pretty small study, but for, again, over-the-counter cosmetic stuff, that's not unheard of. The second thing is that there was no control group. So it's, again, one of those things like, is it chance? Is it the ingredient? But, again, it could be better, but this is what we have, and it did show some benefit.
Right. And even though there wasn't a control group, I would say that most toenail fungus infections, they don't like just go away. They plague the earth. Do you know how many toenail fungal infections I see on a weekly basis?
Oh, it's countless. It's insane how common this is.
Right. So incredibly common. And once they're in the nails, they don't just go away. It does help according to the study. And it actually caused both mycologic cure rate in some people and a physical cure rate. So there's actually two different ways that we evaluate treatments for onychomycosis, which is another fancy name for toenail fungal infections, is that we either look at whether or not it actually kills the fungus or does it just make the nail look better. And it looks like in some cases it does both. In some cases it just makes the nail look better. And in some cases it just cures the fungus. So it's kind of up in the air there how it's going to work for you. But the interesting thing was that all 18 people in the study were satisfied with the treatment, which is important because, toenail fungal infections are very dissatisfying for people. So at least it showed some improvement in people who were happy with the treatment.
Which is interesting because the non-responders were also satisfied. So there's something to be said about expectations. I think for these people, they went in with very low expectations.
Right. It's very difficult to treat toenail fungal infections. Now, I will say, according to the dermatology literature, the best treatment for toenail fungal infections is to take terbinafine oral medication by mouth for several months.
Right. And the reason is because this medication, if you take it by mouth, it actually incorporates into the nail plate itself, which makes a new healthy nail grow in that's resistant to the fungus, because it's very, very difficult to get ingredients to toenail fungus just because of the location and that thick, heavy plate that's protecting this whole area. Plus, nail plates inherently adhere, almost like groove and groove, to the nail bed, which makes it even more difficult for ingredients to get in there. And even though there are a lot of topical treatments available, whether it's something like ketoconazole or the brand that's Jublia, that's efinaconazole, I believe, even those cure rates, even though they're prescriptions, they've been extensively studied, the cure rates are extremely low. So having reasonable expectations, knowing that even with Vicks VapoRub and the fact that it could work, it still often doesn't work.
Right. And bear in mind, there is no reason you couldn't use an oral terbinafine plus Vicks VapoRub in combination. That is not going to cause any harm to you, and it's worth trying to just increase the benefit of these two medications together. So yes, actually, this is a good hack. Doctorally approved?
Yeah, I think so.
I agree. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, let us know what myths you want us to debunk next. We love all of you. We'll see you in the next video.
See you next time.